In today's video, I'm going to be taking this Trek Domane SL7 that I bought for just £700 from mynextbike.co.uk, and I'm going to be throwing on some sensible upgrades to massively elevate both its performance and comfort, whilst crucially keeping the total cost down under that £1,000 mark. Let's see just how good I can make this already pretty excellent second-hand bike. So the upgrade plan is really simple. Fix the fit, improve the tyres, and make some drivetrain optimizations that will all hopefully sneakily save a little bit of weight as well. But before we touch anything, let's throw the bike on the scales to find out what we're starting with. Currently, I have got a set of Favero Asioma pedals on this bike. These weigh pretty much bang on 300 grams of the pair. If you want to know the weight without pedals, knock 300 grams off the total. And with pedals, we're looking at a before weight of 8.18 kilos. I reckon we can save a fair chunk off that number. And I'm gonna have to quickly hold my horses. Before I throw all these upgrades on the bike, I'm gonna have to tell you a quick word about the sponsor of today's video. This video has been sponsored by mynextbike.co.uk. If you've ever gone to buy a second-hand bike, you'll know some of the biggest issues are trusting the seller and whether what you've paid for is actually what's gonna turn up. But don't worry, with mynextbike, they make this process so much easier and safer. Sellers provide proof of purchase when they list the bike, so you can be 100% confident the bike is not stolen and they genuinely own it. And when you check out, that includes full buyer protection, so in the unlikely event the bike turns up not as described, mynextbike have got your back with a money back guarantee. Also, if you think a bike is slightly overpriced on the platform, you can send the seller your own offer. That's how I managed to get this Trek for such an incredible price. Delivery is honestly one of their standout features. No packaging, no faffing around with bike boxes. Simply, someone comes in a van, picks the bike up, and usually the same day drops it off at your house, fully ready, so you can get on with the most important thing, going out and enjoying riding the bike. They even offer a servicing package where they'll fully service the bike on its way to you. So if you're thinking of getting yourself a second-hand bike like me for your upcoming build, and you want to save a decent bit of cash, check out mynextbike.co.uk, and when you shop in there, use codes TOM25 to save £25 off bikes under £1,000, or TOM50 to save £50 off bikes over £1,000. Once again, thank you to mynextbike for sponsoring this video, and let's get on with some tasty upgrades. So the first upgrade I'm doing to this bike is I'm putting on some narrower bars, because if you've seen my shoulders, you'll know I am pretty narrow and I need to ride usually 38cm bars. So I picked up these Data 100 bars off eBay for about 25 quid, and I've got one of my trusty favourite Uno stems off AliExpress that is 110mm in length, hopefully giving me just that little bit more reach to make the fit a bit more appropriate. And while I'm throwing it on the bike, whilst I'm not going to quite chop the steerer just yet until I'm confident with the position, I am going to lower it a few spaces as the stack was extremely high when I got this bike. So yeah, the new bars went on all a breeze, and it's already looking so much better up at that front end. And one little bonus upgrade I'm going to throw on there is to improve the fit and finish of that little Di2 junction box. I have, on my brand new Prusa 3D printer, printed myself a little mount so I don't have to use that ugly rubber band to attach it to under the stem. And I honestly think it's come out really well. Next up then, and I think this is probably going to have the biggest impact on the bike, is upgrading the tyres. Now, as I noted in part one, I was super impressed that the wheels it came with were actually already tubeless compatible. So all I have to do is throw a bit of tape on, poke some valves in, and throw some tyres on, and we're ready to go. Now, the tyres I have bought are these Goodyear Eagle Super Sport Rs in 28mm. Now, these are top of the line Goodyear tubeless tyres, and I've actually been running them on my time since building it up. And genuinely, I think they perform just as well as my GP5000s. And that's not just based on my own subjective opinions. Bicycle Rolling Resistance also claim they actually have lower rolling resistance than a pair of tubeless GP5000s. So what's not to like? And they are so cheap at the moment. Where I bought them from, Treads, I got them for £27 a tyre, which for top of the line performance tubeless tyres is crazy value. Add on a few quid for valves and tape, from AliExpress that'll set you back maybe about £5 or £6, plus a little bottle of sealant, and I'm going to budget £15 for all that extra tubeless hardware. This may genuinely be the worst tubeless setup I have ever had to do. Flipping heck, I've been at it about an hour. Finally got it to seal, but it is an absolute mess. I guess old 2018 rims, even if they said tubeless ready, that's a different beast altogether. I've set up so many wheels tubeless in the past, but I've never had one this hard to do. And while we're on the wheels, one extra little saving I'm going to make is I'm going to swap the really heavy, rusty old skewers that this Trek came with for some nice lightweight titanium AliExpress ones. Now, you'll probably recognise these TTO skewers as the ones I've just taken off my hill climb bike in lieu of some lighter ones. But while they were lying around my parts bin, I thought I may as well throw them on the Trek. Onto the drivetrain next, and this is one where I thought I was going to do loads of upgrades. But actually, I've kept it to just the one. And that is swapping the Ultegra cassette this bike came with to one of my favourite AliExpress products of all time, and that is this Speedow monoblock cassette. These are made from a single piece of steel, so they are super durable and actually really light. This cassette weighs in at just about 180 grams, which is significantly lighter than even a Dura Ace cassette. And what's best, they cost about 45 quid. And I know what you're thinking, Tom, you've had loads of issues with AliExpress cassettes, but they've mostly been the hybrid aluminium type. I was also going to upgrade the crankset as well, and I actually had this Rero crankset, but I'm still not 100% confident using it as it has a 24mm aluminium axle. Now, whilst it'll be fine for putting on a bike to do a showcase build and taking off afterwards, I'm not 100% confident in its long-term durability. There have been plenty of reports of these aluminium axles snapping online, and as you'll know, usually 24mm cranks have steel axles, or now you're seeing quite a lot of titanium axles, with aluminium axles being reserved for the larger dub or 30mm standards. But let me know, should I try that crankset or should I just stick with the Ultegra one that's on the bike? Because I think this Ultegra chainset has seen better days. The chainrings are starting to look very worn, and I'm sure you know, to buy new Shimano chainrings, it usually costs pretty much the same price as a chainset anyway. I checked the chain wear and there's no problems there, so fortunately we don't have to be putting a new chain on the bike, which is great news. And then the only other upgrade, which I'd already done in part one, is putting a more comfortable saddle on. The stock saddle this bike came with was really not my cup of tea. It was a proper old school, heavy duty, overly padded saddle with not a proper cutaway. So I swapped it to this Riot saddle. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't use a super light carbon saddle as the way the clamping mechanism works is the sort that can't support oval carbon rails. So I've had to stick for this steel railed saddle. It's a bit heavy, but I found really comfortable riding. And overall, I am super impressed with how this bike's come out. And I think especially that tyre upgrade is going to make a world of difference when it comes to performance and even give me some more comfort benefits. So this should be one of the most comfortable bikes I own. And that's saying something for a rim brake bike. One of the best things about the frame was just how generous the tyre clearance was. It's the most I've ever seen on a rim brake frame. I definitely could have fit 30mm tyres in there. However, with the narrow rim internals that this bike comes with, I think they would have probably ballooned out quite wide. But yeah, you're gonna have to let me know what you think. I know in part one, a lot of you are saying, but Tom, why are you talking rim brake bikes in 2026? Come on, the world's moved past that. But considering what this has cost, you know, your equivalent is a very entry-level disc bike. I'd take this any day over some entry-level aluminium disc brake bike. But I can't just stand here and tell you what I think the performance is going to be. I am going to have to get the bike out and give it a full shakedown and test it. However, I've not quite decided how I want to test the bike yet. Should I take it out KOM hunting, or should I go down to a local crit on it, or something else entirely? You're going to have to drop all your suggestions in the comments, and I'll take the best one and make a part 3 where I go out and give this bike a proper shakedown and see how it performs out in the real world. But before we finish, there's one thing I promised you, and that is, even though it wasn't the main goal of the project, how much weight have all these upgrades managed to save us? So it's new weight with pedals, 7.58 kilos. So I hope you've all enjoyed the video, but you're going to have to get yourself subscribed and stick around on the channel, because in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be upgrading my £1,000 gravel bike to an electronic group set and some even better wheels to make it the ultimate £2,000 gravel build. So do not miss that one. And remember to get yourself signed up to channel membership. if you want early access to future videos and just to support the channel. But until then, I'll see you all in the next one.